Just behind me is the home and destination of the 2024 UEFA Champions League final. After watching the group stages yesterday, I have to say Newcastle United are amongst probably one of the best ever Champions League groups. I can't believe how good that group is. 4 incredible teams: PSG, Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan and Newcastle United are all amongst a group which I don't think, after I've had a chance to think about it, I don't think there is any clear-cut favourites. I know Newcastle definitely are the underdogs. They're inexperienced, they haven't played in a stage like this in over 20 years. But when you look at the squads on paper, are they actually that much better than Newcastle's squad? I don't think they are, to be honest. So when the prediction win now, we have the possibility of shocking the world and actually going to some of the best teams out there, and they're giving it a real good go. The games at St James's Park are going to be crucial. But speaking of Wembley behind me, of course, we were here for the Carabao Cup final last season. And speaking of the Carabao Cup, Newcastle have actually been screwed in the cup draw. The AFLs even came out and admitted that they got it wrong. I'm here today to explain how that was and what my personal thoughts on it, because, well, it's pretty bad luck is probably the best way of putting it. But also on the topic of Newcastle, we've got the stuff at Adidas that's been announced today. We've got a new partnership deal in place. We're going to explain how that is going to be huge for us long term. And also we've got a fan zone that's coming towards the end of the year. So I'm going to take you into Boxport Wembley and I'm going to show you how that fan zone works there, because I think Newcastle's model is going to be very similar to Boxport. I'm going to show you why. But one more confession from me, by the way. I had to admit now, I haven't actually missed the Newcastle game in well over 4 years, but I have food poisoning. I went to a takeaway in London this morning at like 1 a.m. and I feel awful. I got stomach pains, I feel sick. I definitely have food poisoning. I'm pretty sure it was chicken wings, raw. So I don't know about my possibility of going to the game more. It just depends how I feel. I have to be brutally honest now. But I'm not feeling great, I do have to admit. But anyway, guys, a bit of a plug, but since I do have food poisoning, I'm recording the video. I mean, that is dedication there. So if you guys can head over to the Football Content Awards and vote for me as the best Premier League content creator and also the best content creator, that'd be massively appreciated. There'll be a link down in the pinned comment. Please vote for me. Bit of a shameless plug there. But without further ado, let's head up Wembley Way now. Let's show you some things that I wanted to talk about. As I'm currently walking up to Wembley now, I was wanting to mention about the Carabao Cup third round draw and how Newcastle United was actually shafted in the draw. We should have not got Manchester City at home. Now the EFLs actually came on and admitted this, but we should have not been ball number 20. So the way that the cup draw works is that it picks the ball numbers out alphabetical order. Norwich City was in front of Newcastle United, so we actually should have had Norwich City's ball and they should have had ours. So instead of 20, we should have been 19. Now, we drew Manchester City at home, which is quite literally the hardest possible team you could have got, whereas Norwich drew Fulham away. So it's fair to say there's a bit of a difference between the two teams, but I just had to say straight away in regards to the AFL, what? How do you make that mistake? If nobody want to double check the balls, nobody want to double check everything's correct. Like, I don't know how you can make a mistake like that. Just so like amateur. Like, how? But to be fair, even though we should have been ball number 19 instead of 20, it still is the luck of the draw. We could have got a favourable draw than Norwich City, but in typical Newcastle fashion, we didn't. We literally got the hardest team, so now we have to deal with it. I feel like Newcastle should be rewarded somewhat. I think we probably should get some money directly from the AFL as like an apology. Listen, we got it wrong, my bad. But I've seen a lot of fans claiming that they should have redone the draw. They should have made sure Newcastle had Fulham away instead. Listen, it's still luck at the end of the day. We shouldn't have been 20, yes, but it still is just a luck of the draw. So I can't demand much from them. But I definitely think Newcastle should be, I guess, rewarded money or something like that. But yeah, we have to deal with it now. Manchester City at home. Tough game, but to be fair, it's just before the Champions League matches. I think we've got a good opportunity to start our main players. And hopefully, if we can get them out, we'll probably be the favourite to win the Carabao Cup. So we'll have to see what happens. But we have been shafted. We have definitely been shafted by the AFL. We have to now deal with it as a club. How the hell do you put Norwich City in front of Newcastle in alphabetical order? What? I've never heard that before, but yeah, we're actually being done over because we should have been 19 instead of 20. But yeah, I actually walked up these steps 3 times, by the way. This is a bit of a sad story now, a bit of a personal level. I walked up those stairs 3 times in Wembley. The first time we lost the cup fight to Manchester United. The second time I went to Harry Styles over last, and I got dumped afterwards, so I didn't go too well. And third time is now when I've got food poisoning. I mean, this is just the absolute worst. So a bit of a superstitious person such as myself, I always say if something bad happens to me before the match, we tend to lose. So if we lose to Brighton tomorrow, that one's on me, my bad. I just want to tell you a bit of a personal story. I've never ever had a good experience coming up there. So I'm hoping the fourth time is going to be the Champions League final or the Carabao Cup final again. And hopefully this time we can do well. As I'm currently heading over to my next destination in this vlog, I was wanting to talk about our Amazon Prime documentary, the fourth and final episode that came out today. My embargoes with Amazon Prime are now concluded. I can just say whatever I want about this series. And I have to be real with you guys, after watching all 40 episodes, I think it's a mixed bag. I'll explain why I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I want to start with the positives first. I mean, Amazon Prime are paying us £10 million for 4 hours worth of content. £2.5 million per episode is insane, by the way. We have made so much money from them, which will go on the FFP to buy more players in the transfer market. And if Newcastle can do this more on a regular basis, do it, because it's smart business-wise. And I think, to be fair, a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff that the show is good. I like especially the business side of things. You get to see Amanda Murdad with Darren Eales, Peter Sills done, getting the deals like Salah, Adidas, the big one that was in the 4th episode, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. But getting deals like that done, you as the viewer can see how to do it, and I actually do like that part of it. But some problems being is that, well, you're putting an entire season's work into 4 hours. Now, trust me, I've done interviews for Amazon Prime, I've been at events for Amazon Prime, and I've done stuff for content. The amount of content that they've missed out of this 4-hour documentary is incredible. I mean, there must have been hundreds upon hundreds of hours they recorded. Some of that content is stuff that you would have loved to see. So I think the fact that it's only been 4 hours long definitely does hold it back a bit. It's just nowhere near long enough to actually tell a story for the entire season of us getting back into the Champions League. And this might be a bit of a controversial take, but my thoughts about it is, I think it's extremely safe. I think everything it does, it kind of does it to benefit the club in a good way. Now, for me as a football fan and a Newcastle United fan, I want to see everything. It doesn't matter how good or how bad it may be. I want to see everything that went on. An example being, Eddie Howe kicked Ryan Fraser out of the squad on the 21s. Now, that's not good for the club to put out on social media, but as fans, you kind of want to see, why did Ryan Fraser get kicked out of the squad? It's just things like that where I want to see everything about the club. I think it can be a bit biased, the documentary. I feel like it just benefits the club. It says everything good about the club, but it doesn't really show anything that's bad. Now, I think in a documentary, you do have to be fair, and it just isn't fair at all. That's the honest way of putting it. If you watch the Tottenham documentary, you would have seen that Son and Lloris are almost fighting each other at half-time while the games. Pep Guardiola, Manchester City documentary, he comes in the Wigan match, sit down, nobody taught me. These are iconic scenes. Newcastle doesn't have anything like that. It's because of how safe we play. And a good amount of documentary as well is showing goals, it's showing match footage. I've been to these matches, I know these goals, I've seen it all before. I kind of don't want to see it again. Like, I want to see stuff behind the scenes, which I do touch on, but I think it could have done more. That's my honest thought. It just feels like it's just something I'm not going to rewatch. Like, am I going to watch these 4 episodes again in a couple weeks' time? Probably not. I don't know, I just felt safe. I just felt that they could have done more with it, but that's my honest thoughts anyway. Maybe you guys might disagree with me, but I felt like the documentary was safe. It could have been more. I think it was good for what it did. We earned loads of money from it, but I think it was all good towards Newcastle, but it should have been fair. I think it should have showed some of the bad stuff as well, and just us for fans, I want to see everything that happens behind the scenes, and we just didn't do that. I'm currently just inside London Designer Outlet. I've had a chance to go to the Adidas shop before, and I've started to buy a few Adidas products. I've got to get all the Custode gear out of my wardrobe and then put the Adidas stuff in it. So there's going to be a bit of redesign for next season, but the reason why I'm currently outside the shop is because I wanted to talk a little bit about the new sponsorship deal we've got done today. I mean, this is a big deal for Newcastle. We've got so much going for us now. This deal at Adidas is going to make us loads of money, and it's not just making us money as well, it's also exposure. So for example, in this London shop, I go in there, the team with the most shirts in that shop is, as expected, Manchester United, of course, as they're so big in London. But look how many shirts they actually have on the wall now. I don't think we would do it at this shop in London, but I can see us actually getting potentially 1 or 2 shops in London where there would be Newcastle shirts inside. Now Newcastle, they want to get these shirts across worldwide. We want Adidas shops in New York, Saudi Arabia, Australia, wherever it might be. Every single country, we want Newcastle shirts. We want to build the exposure of the football club. Adidas would do that. They've got such a high reach. I see the teams in there. I mean, these are the kit suppliers for Arsenal, Manchester United, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Spain. They've got so many good teams on the belt. Newcastle joins that long list of clubs they have. And judging by the promotion we've done for the announcement today, I mean, it would make it feel like Newcastle's the biggest club Adidas. I mean, Adidas must have really wanted this deal and the way they promoted it. So definitely something that I think long term is going to be huge for us. And I do see it being much bigger than what meets the eye. I just want to mention now that expect big things at Adidas, but I'm not going to drag on much longer because I know I've been talking to the absolute death of them. But bye-bye, Castor. Hello, Adidas. There we have it behind me. We are back at Box Park, Wembley. I attended this before the Carabao Cup final. Newcastle United was here in February. We had Sholan Yobi, Ryan Taylor, John Beresford in, building up that pre-match atmosphere. The fact that Newcastle United was here and now they are planning their own fans which is going to come out towards the end of the year. Expect our fans to look quite similar to this. It's going to be similar to Stack. It's not going to be this big. I think you'll probably got 2/3 the size of this one. But you can see in the background we have food stores everywhere. There's a great place, a great atmosphere, great vibes. It'll be on during the week as well. But fans can come in, interact. Newcastle United will use this themselves for support and meetings. This is the future of Newcastle. We have bought back the strawberry land behind the Gallagher end. Long term, we will look to expand St James's Park, but for now, short term, we'll have something just like this. This is a great model for what Newcastle will actually try and do. They've been here before. They'll have their schematics down there, have their planning process down. They're working directly with Stack to have their own fan zone. There will be state of the art. You will love this. It's going to come out towards the end of the year, as expected, but don't be surprised if it gets delayed like a month or two. They'll try and bring it out as soon as possible, but I've been around St James's Park. I haven't started to build the bloody thing yet, so it's going to take a while. But trust me when I say this, it will be similar to this. It will be great. I can't wait for it. I love coming in here when I'm at Wembley. It's great to go in and get something to eat. Now, I'm not going to be eating today because of my stupid food poisoning, but I'll be having some water, trying to get the fluids in my body. I'll be soaking in the atmosphere. I'm just enjoying it. But honestly, expect something like this at St James's Park. It's going to be much bigger than you think. We've got our sponsor and seller, of course, the organised events in Saudi Arabia. They'll be planning stuff as well for the future. It is looking so good for this club. No matter how we do in the pitch behind the scenes, we will continue to grow. And naturally, more money into the club, therefore you're buying better players. And in the sense, you're expected to finish high in the league, do better in the cups. And we'll get that trophy eventually. It's been 1955 since the last domestic honour. I sat here with the belief of that cup final this year that we could do something. It just slipped away from us on the day. Manchester United is so experienced compared to Newcastle. Casemiro, man of the match today, won 5 Champions Leagues and just wins trophies in his sleep. We just aren't at that level on the day we treat it like a massive deal. Manchester United just turned up, professional was out, just did it like a job. For us, it was our big occasion, and that's the difference in mentality. We have to be able to, next time we get to a cup final, next time we get something, we have to be chill. We have to be able to just go, well, you know what, we're here for a reason. Let's go out on that pitch and win it. Newcastle, we just turned up, fans, players, everyone at the club, excited, buzzing, and that's probably why we lost in this year. I felt like we just didn't have it. But trust me, going forward, we'll get it sorted. It's just the start of a great journey. Listen, we're better than some of these teams, by the way. We can come to Wembley again and win some of these games. We've actually got a good squad now. Going forward, we'll get there. Don't worry about it. But I just want to mention as fans, don't expect someone like this back at St James's Park. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching the video today. I want to finish things off by talking about the Brighton match tomorrow, the likes of Botman and when he could come back from his injury. And as well as that, some transfer activity, because Newcastle are now officially done when it comes to signings coming into the football club. Eddie Howe confirmed it in his press conference today. But Isaac Hayden, someone's popping up with him a little bit now. So he was actually meant to go to Luton Town. Luton Town wanted to loan somebody else, so they sent Isaac Hayden back to Newcastle. Then Sheffield Wednesday wanted to loan him and Jeff Hendrick. Now, everything with Jeff Hendrick still seems to be sound. But with Isaac Hayden, more information's coming out. That's Standard League from the Belgian side. I think they are now. They wanted to sign him. Now, the thing with this Belgian team is, the impression I get is that they actually want him on a permanent deal. Now, Newcastle get any bid for Hayden on a permanent deal, they will snatch their hands off of that. Now, a big problem with a guy like Isaac Hayden, a guy like Jeff Hendrick, is that those two combined must be earning about £100,000 a week at Newcastle. They're both on long-term contracts. So let's say 52 weeks in a year, they'll be earning £5.2 million in wages. Let's say they've got 2 to 3 more years left in their contract. That's within, what, 10 to 15 million pounds, depending on how long the contract is. That is so much money. So it's worth Newcastle now even if the Belgian side offers £10, £0, Newcastle will say yes because they just want to get him out. They want to get him out and declare the wage structure. A guy that's not going to be in the 25-man squad anymore. Was a good sign for Newcastle. I liked him, but unfortunately injuries picked up. He's just finished now. I mean, you can't play for Newcastle now. It's so sad to see what happens to him. But for us, we have to get rid of players like this. He's going to cost us millions. We get rid of him now. It was a permanent deal. Newcastle will snatch their hands of that every single day of the week. But as for the likes of Botman, now it's highly unlikely he will play tomorrow. But the fact that it's even been considered that he could potentially be in tomorrow's squad heavily implies that his injury is not actually that bad. In fact, he might be back after the international break. It could only be a couple of weeks, which is a massive bullet we have dodged. Now, a problem with Newcastle and the FFP, we can only spend so much. We haven't been able to get a centre-half in and a right-sided attacking player. I think those two positions might cost us this season. It just depends on our luck. Will players get injured? Will our players continue their form from last season? It just depends. We have to be able to compete well. Injuries, I think, will be the downfall. We're playing Champions League this season. That's more games on top of it. It's so much for our squad now. The pressure is on. Eddie Howe and these players, they have to work with what they have. They have a bit now, but still probably not enough. I think we have gotten the Champions League a bit too soon. But listen, I back us to the moon. I back us to do well. We've got tough games coming up in the Cups. We've got tough games coming up in the league. We have to be able to compete with them again on a consistent basis so we can get our club to where we need to be. We will do it. It's a long-term strategy, but unfortunately, we've kind of shot it a bit too early. So now we've got to deal with all of this as a consequence. I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, but I definitely would say this season not have your expectations too high. I will always say this. I back us to do well, I do. But I think it's important for us as fans also not to put too much pressure on the club. They can do what they're pleased. They will do their best, but ultimately we just can't afford to have expectations that it's unrealistic for the club. But we'll get there, guys. Take care. Now, I may seem well in the video, but trust me when I say this, I've been doing these videos a good few takes. I am so ill. I'm actually fighting for my life, with my food poisoning. I feel terrible. So I can't confirm going to tomorrow's match. I've got horrible stomach pains. I have to be honest now. I feel awful. But I'll let you know in advance how I'm feeling. Oh, it's not great. I'm hoping tomorrow we can get a good result over Brighton. I'll let you know how I'm getting on, but I'm not feeling great. I do have to be honest now. But I appreciate you guys watching anyway. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I will see you all in the next one.